Subaru and Rudeus are definitely one of the top tier Isekai protagonists and even of a lot of anime. Most Isekai protagonists are as follows. Die, get reborn into another world with OP powers, they get an RM, and don't develop too much during the story. I'm talking about the mass of Isekai. I know there are others who do not do these things at all, but yeah, you get me. Sometimes, yeah, it can be fun, but it gets very repetitive and boring. You don't really develop a certain liking for the characters that are being presented. I won't target any specific series for this video because the goal is to not downplay someone's favorites. When you think of Isekai, you mostly think of these two animes, I think. ReZero and Mushoku. Because they frankly do the best job on the topic, and no, I will not talk about Lord of the Mysteries. One is about the value of one's life, friendship, never giving up, and much more. And the other is about the second chance in life. They strive in their own things really well, and in particular their character study. Subaru and Rudeus are really well made characters. Rudeus' character is basically over because Mushoku ended without counting redundancy, and Subaru still has 3 arcs to do according to Tape, arc 10, 11, 12. So we have a lot to look at. Well, the first thing to see is the relation they have with their previous world. Subaru and Rudeus are very attached in their own ways to Earth, and it really impacts the characters a lot. Subaru became a shut-in after starting to doubt himself even more as he grew up. When he was a kid, he tried to develop a personality for people to enjoy him by doing all sorts of different things like sport or just being a funny guy. But the more he grew up, the more he realized people weren't really there for his person, but rather those traits he obsessed over. In contrast, his dad was a respected man around his town. People liked him for the man he became and the man he is. That was the thing Subaru really wanted to be like. For Rudeus, he was bullied by the people of his school and even some part of his family. He just had his brother who really wanted to help him, but just couldn't bring Rudeus to do anything. Instead, a shut-in for around 20 years, and during those times he started to develop really weird things in his loneliness. Then he did something real bad, and his brother, the one who was there for him, well, he also started to hate him. So basically, before he died, he had no one. I like the difference between the two because one was loved by his parents but just couldn't see it, and the other was hated by everyone just because of his laziness and putrid personality, I guess. And those issues with their past lives still impacts them to the other world. We can see that with Subaru in season 2 and Rudeus weird behaviors in season 1, I guess. Maybe 2, maybe no, probably 1. Or typical main character of Isekai really just forgets about his past and just lives in his new life without really questioning anything, which is fair, but it kind of feels like their character was born in this world and not in the previous ones. But that doesn't stop there. It's not because they're in a new world that they're going to have it easy. Subaru's life is not sunshines and rainbows for a lot of it, and no, it's not gore for people saying that are really annoying and stupid. I must say, Subaru has to overcome a lot of his own past problems into his new world. And surprisingly enough, as if routes are good analysis tools because they're like turning points for Subaru, where if he had chose the wrong path, things could have went real bad for him or for the people he loved. Subaru is always in situation that gets him to confront his fears about himself, the doubts he had about himself or others, is never rewarded so easily, but rather with efforts and perseverance. Rudeus is a bit different. He still has to put in effort, but he gets rewarded a bit more than Subaru. I'm noticing, but yet still has a lot of trouble facing his past, big mistakes he did in his life. He wanted to avoid his issues as much as possible in season 2, which really reflected his depression really well. I think that's my favorite arc of Moshoko. The Rudy's depression arc is really nice. But with all that said, we've seen that those two characters are constantly being at lows or highs depending on the situation. They really can depict real life well in this matter. The usual character really blends in too much into the new world they were in, completely ignoring the fact they were isekais. No reflection on their past lives or actions, no repercussions from their past life. They just die and get reborn and forget, which I guess sometimes isn't bad, but it gets repetitive and annoying if you get what I mean. And of course, characters that are like that are not bad characters at all. I won't go to this extent for sure, but it just feels wrong to make them an isekai for the sake of the having the tag, you know? But that might just be personal complaints. I guess I may be just the only one on this take, I don't know. I hope I'm not. It would be embarrassing if so. And man, Subaru made me see things differently. I really think he saved me in a way. I don't know if I would have been the same without his amazing character. Tape, thank you. Ah man, sorry, that's biased. Okay, I'm sorry. But my point hopefully still stands. Subaru and Rudeus really does elevate the genre by a lot. It shows that it can have very well written characters. This is why you often see the two being at the top of Isekai, like the top two with a random third place, which I would give to Konosuba or Tanya, but shh. Most isekai protagonists fail at depicting what an isekai protagonist should be like, or at least that's how I see it. I know you could see that. I know you could see the isekai thing being shown into a lot of different other mechanics, like Tanya with wars and Konosuba for the memes, I guess. But I personally think that past life should be very important for an isekai character. It's quite literally a good chunk of their experiences and what makes them human and what makes the isekai worth reading. You grow up with things from a modern advanced society or not, with things you know, your memories, your relationships. I feel like it should be explored more into the genre as a whole and not be completely left to dust by some easy plot point or something. They're not held back by what they've done or the characters they've built that we will not know about ever in a lot of cases, and I find that kind of saddening to I guess to read and watch, but I don't know. Okay, anyways, I'm not sure how I feel like about this mumbling of random words, but whatever, maybe this was a good video, who knows. At the end of the day, just love the characters you want to love. I'm not here to dictate you on I won't force you my love I have for Subaru. You may not, and that's okay. Love who you want to love. Well, I guess have a good day or night, and see ya.